Hello Booktube! So today I thought I'd treat you to a review of Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. So this is not the first Brandon Sanderson book I've read. I thought he did a fine job of finishing the Wheel of Time series. These sorts of books. And more recently I read the available books of the Stormlight Archive, which were fantastic. So, I thought I'd give them another go. And I picked up Elantris. And I started reading away. With my eyes. So, for those of you that don't know, Elantris is Brandon Sanderson's first published novel. It's a fantasy. And the title, Elantris, is the name of a city in the book that has been abandoned. It was a city inhabited by sorts of magical gods that suddenly turned into zombies about 10 years ago. So now it's a city of undead zombies. And the remaining human kingdoms around them kind of just ignore it while they try to rebuild their world without the sort of leadership of their living gods. There's a lot of politics in this book, a lot of religion, which in a world where there's suddenly a religious void due to the demise of a whole city of godlike beings, made for quite a compelling read. And I mean that literally. It was one of those books where I did find myself ignoring other activities in favour of reading Elantris. So it follows three main characters. The book opens with Raoden. He's a prince of the local kingdom who gets taken by the Sheod, which would have turned him into one of the magical godlike beings, but instead turned him into a zombie. And as such, he was thrown into the city of zombies. It follows Serene, Raoden's wife-to-be, but who never actually got to marry him. Kind of. And finally, it follows Hrathen, a sort of archbishop of a rival kingdom with a rival religion, intent on conquering Elantris and all the surrounding lands. These three characters are all interesting in different ways, and they're each, to an extent, pursuing different goals. Raoden is kind of fighting for the survival or hoping to help thrive his newfound zombie community, who aren't quite as mindlessly zombie-like as you might imagine. Serene wants to protect her adopted kingdom from the invaders, such as Hrathen, while Hrathen also wants to protect this kingdom from destruction through religious conversion. Each of them imagines themselves the good guys. And in a way, each of them are. But at times they're all rivals. Sometimes quite bitterly. The plot develops nicely. Now, it wasn't a perfect book. It did have the feel of a debut novel from a writer that wasn't quite the fully formed fantasist that he would become. I thought the magic system in the book was a bit odd. I didn't like it. And while the majority of the book was a very compelling read and I felt it was really building up to something, I really didn't think the ending of the book was it. I did not find it a satisfying conclusion. I mean, it all sort of ended the way you might expect. I think I was hoping for a bit more of a twist or something. Something less predictable. And some aspects of it just didn't feel like it was realistic. Particularly Hrathen's sort of sidekick, who's introduced to the book right from the start. And his plot becomes increasingly convoluted to the point where it seems almost nonsensical by the end of the book. That all said, like I say, the book did end kind of the way I imagined it would. I didn't think it was a bad ending, it just perhaps didn't live up to my expectations. So, my conclusions about the book are that it is a good book. If you're a fan of Brandon Sanderson and want to understand where he came from as a writer, I'd recommend reading this. But of the books of his that I've read, this is the worst by quite a long way. Still better than a lot of other books I've read. Hope some of that made sense. Wasn't just normal goblin rambling that I normally spout. Bye.